are within. I'm your host and executive producer, Eli Thompson. Today's topic is the importance of you. Most of us are conditioned to think of superficial beauty based on the cycles of the beauty industry. However, that is something that can be created from products purchased off of a store shelf, a precise incision by a top-notch surgeon, or implants that can fill out our voids. But that type of beauty is really dependent upon the preferences of our culture. You know, in some parts of the world, they do face painting, they get plants or different types of skins from around their area, and they make different things with them. But in some cultures, the plainer the face, the more beautiful the woman is, or even the man is considered. So, what's your culture? What's your specialty in your culture? We're here to talk about inner beauty, that with which you are conceived, you're born, and that which you are purposed to impact the world around you. One of those things that is called is potential. It's defined as having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something in the future. Have you ever considered what you are to become? You know, if you're still living, you're still becoming something, right? Do you dream? Have you lost your dreams? Do you still have visions of doing something that maybe it's still on your bucket list? And that's okay. Do you still journal? Do you still have some old journals? You know, it takes millions of sperm to fertilize one egg. That's how it starts. Only about 1,000 sperm reach the fallopian tube. A couple hundred pass through from that point. But you know, there's only one particular sperm that actually reaches and is accepted by that egg. And you know, when that one sperm is accepted by that egg, you know what happens? There is a baby that is conceived. And that egg wraps itself around that sperm and invites it in. That is the selective process. And that is the creation of you. And that's when the DNA, the chromosomes are divided, and that's the miracle of you. That's why we're talking about the importance of you. And that's where your potential becomes. And that becomes you. And that's an amazing thing. Dr. Wayne Dyer wrote this book called The Power of Intention. And for me, in my mind's eye, that is the most powerful power of intention that there could ever be. It was intended for you to be here. That is the beauty of you, the importance of you. You were meant to be. If you have the capacity to become or to develop into something in the future, and you're still here, you still have some work to do. And we can do that work together. Just a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to speak at the Hartford Company. And it was for Black History Month. And they were celebrating on the theme called Black Wall Street. And I titled the talk, Make Room for Your Resilience, Requirements for a Noteworthy Legacy. And one of the things that I spoke about was Proverbs 22:6, and it says, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he shall not depart from it. And the reason I did that is because a lot of times we as parents, we're all at fault, and it's not a bad thing. It's just something that we have become so accustomed to, is that we have a tendency to train up children the way that we want them to go, not necessarily based on their talents and their gifts, but based on the way we think that they should be, according to the society that we live in. But we need to really focus on training up our children according to who they are to be, according to their talents and their gifts. But we need to know who they are. I remember one time my youngest daughter said, and I don't know what was going on with her, but she was ill. And her response to me, because I was trying to get her to do something to make her feel better, but her response to me was, "But Mommy, I know my body." And I had to stand back and listen to her, because she knew how her body felt and what she could respond to in order for her body to feel better. So that was an aha moment for me, because I understood how she felt. So we as parents really need to understand that we all can learn from each other. We as parents have a tendency to shelter our children from the storms of life a little bit more than I think we should. Maybe we should allow some of those seeds of pain to grow a little bit more than we do. I know we love our children, and I'm not saying don't love on them, but sometimes we shelter them a little bit too much. Maybe if we were to allow them to learn a little faster from some of the pain, then they would mature a little faster. For instance, in the Hebraic traditions, in the Hebraic culture, children reach an age of accountability at the age of 12. And that's what the bat mitzvah and the bar mitzvah are about. They assume more of the adult roles. So then they are held more responsible for what they do. And they're held accountable in many more ways than you might want to accept in what's called the American culture. And in other cultures as well. And so we in the United States may not tolerate what some other cultures may tolerate, and we might not consider it as humane as they do in other cultures. So maybe this is why a lot of the other cultures flourish in other ways, and they might live longer, because as I said at the Hartford, you have to make room for your resilience. And let's define resilience. It's the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, and it's your toughness. It's your strength of character. It's your adaptability. We're talking about a rubber band. You know, you can pull a rubber band and pull a rubber band, but it never really goes back to the shape that it was in originally. And it's the same with the human being. You know, you still bear the same wounds that you had, and you never go back into the same form after having been wounded or scarred or beaten or going through a fire or going through any traumatic thing. Once you have been through something and you have survived something, you become more resilient and you know how to fight to get to the next level. So you built up your resilience. And if you make room for more and you grow from that, you become empowered and you learn different strategies to survive the next thing and the next thing. So that's what I meant, making room for your resilience. But I subtitled it, Requirements for a Noteworthy Legacy, because there have been some families that have survived some terrible things, but they have become noteworthy in history because of that. Some families have perished from the earth and never been heard of again. But the families that have made some long-term impacts on humanity because they have built their resilience. And this is what we should strive to do, even from the time we're born. There's some of us, even I myself, I struggled as a baby to survive. I was born with a very, very high fever, almost died. And the doctors had to struggle to get my fever down. My mom said that they had to put me on a bed of ice to get my fever down because they thought I was going to die. So I've learned to make a comeback, to snap back from things. And there are people who have survived much worse than I've survived. So make room for your own resilience. Become empowered. Use your own inner beauty. Be sure to join me right here with my fabulous guests as we show you how to unleash your beauty. and discover your power within.